All right, now we're going to get into my 101 how to write a police report. This will cover the basics and you need to make sure you remember all of them. All right, here we go. All right, I started with details and I've said it before. I'm going to say it again and I will probably say it on a number of your first police reports that you write. Details. Make sure to be detailed enough that if a person who was not at the scene read your report, that person could stand up and recreate what happened step by step. So, and generally with things like this, we're talking about what the officer sees or what the officer did. So, for example, don't write, I grabbed the suspect's arm, or don't write, I grabbed the suspect's arm and we fell to the ground. Can you imagine trying to recreate that? I'm sure some of you are thinking, where did you grab their arm? Their right arm, their left arm, their hand, their forearm, their bicep, their tricep, their shoulder. Did you guys fall on the ground on your knees forward facing? Did you fall backwards and land on your rear? You want to write something more like, I took my right hand and with an open hand, I grabbed Smith's left arm by his wrist. I tightly held onto his left wrist with my hand and I twisted his left wrist away from his body up and towards the sky. I bet if you had two people right now with this first sentence, you would not get it right with what actually happened, but with the second sentence, you could probably recreate it. All right, next, first person. You are the officer writing about what happened. And I know this is a little more difficult because we're having to pretend, and you're going to have to watch videos of incidents that occur, and you're going to have to pretend to be that officer. But just keep in mind that you're pretending that that was you, and you are writing from your perspective. Example, I was dispatched to 1250 Siskiyou Boulevard in reference to a burglary. When I arrived, I spoke to Mary Smith. So first person. And don't change back and forth from first to third person. That's mostly what I see. All right, write in past tense and in chronological order. So, write in past tense. I asked Smith what happened. Smith told me her purse, it looks like I'm missing something here, it was taken from her vehicle. Write in chronological order from the officer's perspective. When I arrived, again, that's past tense, but now we're going in chronological order. I saw that the front door to the house was wide open. Before I entered the house, I asked Johnson if he had been inside the house prior to my arrival. Johnson told me that he arrived at the house at 1700 hours, and when he saw the door wide open, he called the police and did not enter the house. I then cleared the radio channel by asking for a code red and entered the house to clear it. No opinions, only facts. Police reports are not supposed to include your opinion, only state the facts. Example, I entered the house and saw that the front living room area, just to the left after entering the front door, had clothing, miscellaneous fast food, shoes, newspapers, and books strewn all over the carpet flooring. In the above example, you would not include an opinion such as, it appeared as though the occupants were either very dirty people and did not clean up after themselves, or that a burglar had made a mess of their home. Only write what you did, especially when number of officers use force against one or two suspects. You don't want to cover what that other officer did. Many times, in fact most times, when an officer contacts a citizen or a suspect, there will be more than one officer involved in that contact. No matter the circumstances, you only write what you did. Other officers, if they are involved, will write their own report, meaning if they're involved and they have anything to add that's important, or if they did anything, and generally, again, that has to do with some type of use of force. Only write what you did. Example, I grabbed Smith's left wrist with my right open hand. I then used the grip I had on Smith's left wrist with my right hand to pull his forearm backwards and towards the sky in one motion. Officer Joe Madley assisted. For further information, see his follow-up to this report. You do not want to write what an officer did, since you were busy with your actions and could not fully know what the other officer did. So just note that the other officer or officers assisted, note their names, and note to see their follow-up reports for further information. Generally, if other officers did not use any force or did not see or hear anything different than you did, they will not need to write a report. However, if the other officer did use any force or did see or hear anything that you did not see or hear, then that officer or officers will file a follow-up report with any information they heard, saw, or did. saw, or did. If you remember exactly what you said, oh yeah, to quote or not to quote. If you remember exactly what you said or what a citizen or suspect said, place it in quotes. If you do not remember exactly, then you can paraphrase, but you do not use quotes. Example, I told Johnson, quote, take your hands out of your pockets, end quote. Johnson did not move, he just stared at me. Or, Johnson told me that he had been drinking for several hours. I asked him how many beers he had, and he said, I had 5 beers. Let's try to watch a real police let's try to write a real police report by watching the following video. So first of all, we're going to watch the video.
1:30, blonde hair, gray outfit. Got me blonde hair and a gray outfit. I'm here. Patrol 665. I'm going to be out with one. We're to the rear of the Westward Hall. Copy. Yeah, he's got a problem. He looks a little amped up. What's going on? Step to the car and take your hands out of your pockets. Take your hands out of your pockets and step up to my car. That's the second time I've asked you. You're making me nervous. Take your hands out of your pockets and step up to my car. Take your hands out of your pockets and... Don't resist. Now put your hands behind your back, or you're going to get the taser. How much have you been drinking?
Okay, we're only going to cover the force used. As you can see, this is an old video. This is from the 90s. They don't utilize throat holds anymore. That's against policy. But let's go into writing the report. Can you imagine if you don't write a good report and it's not detailed enough? It would be really difficult to take 2 people, stand there, and recreate what happened just from your report. But that's what you gotta do. So let's go back in and let's see. Remember the basics. First person, past tense, chronological order, only write what you did, quote what you remember was said, no opinions, be detailed, and paragraphs. Don't just write one block of words with a new thought, start a new paragraph. And first and second sentences should include the day, date, and time, the location where you're going and why you're going there, were you dispatched or did you see a crime occur, who are the key subjects, identify the subject by describing race, sex, adult, or juvenile, and then state later as identified as first and last name. Then identify the subject by their last name throughout the rest of the report and be detailed. All right, so let's practice writing a report on what you just saw. I've included a template that is also right below this video so you can look at it word for word. I'm not going to read it through. I'm going to show you it here, and then you can either pause this video or download the template, which is Microsoft Word, where I detail everything that's written and why. Okay, here it is. I'm going to open up the Word so you can also see it. So here is the template, and as you can see, I have highlighted and commented on each thing that's very important. For example, the first paragraph, I state on Friday, January 4th, 2019, at approximately 23:05 hours, you always write in military time, I responded to the 2100 block of Las Vegas Boulevard South in reference to a white male adult, approximately 130 pounds, with blonde hair and a gray outfit blocking traffic. And over here I put in the first sentence, you want to list the day, date, and approximate time. And this is how it goes. So I'm not going to read this through. You need to make sure you read this before you write your first police report. All right, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.